Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Travis and this is Bacon and Backpacking, and today is an amazing day because we have finished up the planning for our 4-day backpacking trip to the Dolly Sods wilderness. Now, even if you're new to the channel, you're not a subscriber, you don't know what trip I'm talking about, you should still stick around because I got some footage playing on the video of the Dolly Sods wilderness. It's one of the most beautiful places to backpack east of the Mississippi, so definitely make sure you stick around, check it out. You might want to plan a trip there for yourself in the future. But basically this video is going to be for the subscribers today. We're going to go through like day by day what we're going to be doing, what we're going to be seeing, you know, kind of like timeline, stuff like that. So this video is for you guys that are coming along for the trip. Basically, the trip is set up 2023, May the 4th through May the 7th. That is a Thursday through a Sunday. There are options for people who want to show up on Friday instead of Thursday, and there's also options for people who want to leave early on Saturday, okay? If something comes up with your situation, just let me know in the Facebook group and I can kind of show you some of the alternate plans, but like this is the main plan that most of the group will be sticking to, okay? So on Thursday, Sarah and I are going to make the drive to West Virginia, and we are booking the Red Creek Campground. So the Red Creek Campground is a primitive campground. It's got like a couple of vault toilets. It has bear proof you know, like trash cans and stuff like that, but there's not really any amenities or anything like that. It's for, you know, tents, hammocks. Supposedly there's a water pump there, but they say you still need to filter your water. You would have access to your car there. Now, the problem with the Red Creek Campground is that it is a first come, first serve. we can't register it, right? Now, being that we're going in on a Thursday and being that, you know, Sarah and I will be there around noon, shouldn't be an issue to, you know, snag the campsites. That's where we plan on meeting everybody. I'll send, you know, directions, GPS coordinates, stuff like that in the PDF file that I'll be putting in the Facebook group. From where I live in Ohio, it's approximately a 5-hour drive. Like I said, we plan on getting there around noon. I do have a contingency plan if for whatever reason, you know, there's like not enough campsites available, or, you know, we can't get one or whatever. Worst case scenario, we can hike in about 1.5 miles on the trail and there's a whole bunch of campsites there. But like I said, not really worried about it. A couple of things to remember, guys. You know, if as long as we're at the campground, you will have access to your car. So if you want to bring some extra amenities or like food or, you know, some stuff like that you wouldn't typically take backpacking, you should have access to all of that, you know, in your car at the campground. So keep that in mind. Also keep in mind, there's not really any cell phone service out there. Don't plan on being able to contact anybody pretty much the whole time you're out there. I'm going to go ahead and make the official start time 1 p.m. or later. You know, if you can get there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or you can get there at 10 o'clock at night, and you can come set up your stuff, camp out there, and then be ready to hit the trail the next morning. Now, what I was thinking about doing is, since we're going to get there so early, we'll always leave somebody back at the campground for when the new arrivals get there. For those of you who want to, we could actually like strike out on like a short day hike or something for an hour or two, if you want to do a little bit of hiking on Thursday. So we can always do that as well too. We're not going to hit the trailhead the next morning until about 8:30 a.m. So it's very feasible for, you know, you to leave work on Thursday, drive down to a hotel, you know, in West Virginia. Saw a lot of cheap hotels down there, so you could wake up in the morning, you know, eat some breakfast, grab your gear, and, you know, meet us at the campground and be ready to step off the next day. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get into Friday, which really kicks off and like starts the backpacking part of the trip. So the plan pretty much the whole trip is, like I said, to go to sleep around 11 p.m. and probably wake up at about 7 a.m. at the latest, okay? So that should give everybody plenty of time to, you know, wake up, use the restroom, do your hygiene stuff, you know, get some food, pack up your gear, get some coffee, and be ready to hit the trail. So pretty much every day of the trip, we're going to want to depart at about 8:30 a.m. Friday, it looks like there's going to be roughly about 11 miles on trail, okay? It's going to be a pretty cool day because we're going to go past about 2 or 3 waterfalls. There's going to be a lot of walking right next to Red Creek, and for those of you who haven't been out in Dolly Sods, Red Creek is pretty cool. Obviously, like the water's red because of the tannins out there. So super cool, you know, hiking out there. Elevation and stuff like that's not too bad. We actually end up descending a little bit more than we ascend, okay? There's going to be up to 9 water crossings day one, including about 3 of them across Red Creek, okay? Red Creek might be ankle deep or it might be waist deep, okay? We don't know, so we'll have to evaluate the situation once we get out there. But there are contingency plans just in case there are spots where it's too deep to ford Red Creek. There are alternate routes that we can take as well too, so don't worry about that. Got that planned out already. Also, we will be walking at the base of 2 different mountains, one of them being Lion's Head and the other one being Coal Knob. Now, some of this trail I've done before and some of it I haven't, so I'll be discovering a lot of this stuff for the first time with you guys, which is pretty cool. So, you know, each day I was planning on having like, you know, one, you know, designated sit down lunch, like an extended break time, maybe 45 minutes or something like that, however long it takes. So we'll be doing that on Friday. If you want to bring food to heat up, we will stop in the middle of the day. I'm not saying that we won't take smaller breaks or stops along the way, because that'll kind of pop up as needed, but I'm going to have that one large planned like sit down lunch each day. Okay, so we're going to depart from the Red Creek Campground. Okay, and the first trail we're going to hit is going to be Blackbird Knob. We're going to take that to Red Creek Trail, then Little Stone Coal Trail, onto Duncanbarger Trail, and then back onto Big Stone Coal. And then that is going to be where we're going to find our campsites for the night. Beautiful area there, a bunch of pine forests right down by Red Creek, so tons of huge like flat open spots for like a large group campsite out there. So pretty cool spot there, but that'll be the hiking trails for day 1. Now, with about 11 miles of hiking, you know, even if we're moving at like an absolute snail's pace, okay, of about 1.5 miles per hour, that should still put us in camp, you know, at 3:30 at the latest. You know, and it's starting to get dark around, I think, about, you know, 7:30, 8 o'clock that time of the year. So plenty of time to, you know, find a good campsite, get set up, not be in a rush, make food, hang out, socialize, stuff like that. I intentionally planned like not extremely strenuously long days, okay? But 10 miles in Dolly Sods, 11 miles in Dolly Sods, you're gonna get to see a lot of cool stuff. So Friday is gonna be a pretty cool day. Saturday, Reveille is gonna be at 7 a.m. We're gonna depart for the trail no later than 8:30, and it's gonna be a pretty cool day. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off on Big Stone Coal. That's the trail where we're camped on, right? And we're gonna backtrack kind of in the direction we came, but on a different trail. We're going to hit Rocky Point Trail, and along this there's going to be like the biggest waterfall, and Dolly Sods is out there. That thing should be like gushing this time of the year, right? So that's going to be cool. We'll see that within like a half a mile on day 2. After that, we're going to go another half a mile, and we're actually going to climb Lion's Head Mountain. Now, that is like a rock scramble. You don't need any, you know, climbing gear or anything like that. Most of you might be more comfortable like dropping your packs at the base or something like that. But I'm allocating about an hour to climb to the top of that and come back down. We're looking at about 8 to 10 miles total on Saturday. Nothing too crazy. You know, we could stop earlier or we could, you know, push on a little further. It's just going to kind of depend on, you know, what happens when we get out there and kind of what the group decides. But, you know, there are plenty of campsite options along the way. Not a whole lot of water sources out there. So I personally am going to have the capacity to carry 3 liters of water with me. Once we get into the campsite, if a small group of us wants to go about a mile one way, and then a mile back, Red Creek is about a mile away. So, you know, we would be able to, you know, go down there, fill up some water and stuff like that if we absolutely had to. You know, this day is going to be one of the best days on trail. So, you know, Dolly Sods is known for like its windswept vistas, right? So there's a ton of views of, you know, the mountains and like the plateaus and stuff out there. This is going to be the day where you see the best views. Now, downsides are, towards the end of that day, we will be getting into some like the marshy, like swampland and stuff like that. And then you'll get to experience Dolly Sods gives and Dolly Sods takes. Okay, so you'll get to experience the fun of Dolly Sods trying to swallow your boots into the ground and stuff like that. So I try to avoid as much of it as I can, but if you're going to Dolly Sods, you're going to be going through some of that stuff, but I kept it as minimal as I could. Okay, one other thing to think of on Saturday, being up on those plateaus like that, out in those open meadows, there's not a ton of great options for hammocks up there. I made it work last time. I found a spot, but you know, it took us a while and it was getting dark, and we found, you know, just enough to get my hammock and then Allison's hammock up, and that was it. So just keep that in mind. Same thing, plan on being in camp, you know, definitely by 4. You know, it might take a little bit longer to do the same mileage this day because there's a little bit more climbing, and then obviously we're actually like scrambling up the mountain. So you know, probably 3:30 to 4:30, I'd say at the absolute latest we'd be back in camp. So again, plenty of time to hang out, socialize, stuff like that. All right, and then a couple of notes on Saturday. So, you know, like I said, we planned on doing somewhere around 10 miles, but if for some reason some of you, you know, want to get out Saturday instead of Sunday, you can just hike the additional 4 to 5 miles and just hike out. You know, even at that point, I mean, sure, you'd probably be getting out around like dark, maybe a little bit earlier, and then you'd have, you know, a drive back in the dark. But if for some reason, you know, you're like, hey, I gotta leave Saturday, that's an option for you. Just make sure you know how to navigate your way out of there. Same thing, plan on going to sleep sometime around like 11. Obviously, you know, you can go to sleep whenever you want, but I'm saying that's kind of like quiet time, right? And then when it comes to Sunday, I wanted to keep it as short and sweet as possible. So Sunday, reveille will be at 7 o'clock again, and we will depart no later than 8:30 to be on the trail. This time, we will hit the notorious Dobbin grade, but the good news is it's for less than a quarter of a mile. Dobbin's kind of known for just being a swamp, so we got to hit that just to connect to Upper Red Creek Trail, and then from there back on the Blackbird where we started, and out to the campground where we're all parked. So you know, we're looking at, again, depending on how much mileage we did the previous day, anywhere from 4 to about 4.5 to 6 miles. Okay, we would only have 3 hours of hiking Sunday morning, so that puts us back at the cars no later than 11:30 a.m. Should give you guys plenty of time to get out Sunday, get back to your families, get cleaned up, put your gear away, and get organized, you know, for work on Monday morning. So, I mean, we're doing the same thing. I did want to go over a couple of things though, real quick, guys. For those of you who, you know, you're like, hey, I wish we had a longer day on Sunday. You know, Seneca Rocks is within, you know, a half an hour. You can go check out Seneca Rocks. Spruce Knob is probably within, you know, a half an hour. You could go up and check out Bear Rocks. You have to drive past it on the way out. Like, it's in Dolly Sods. You could do like a short, you know, day hike out there someplace. You can check out Bear Rocks, some of those other places. You could stop, get some food someplace. So, you know, if any of you guys want to do stuff like that, just let me know, and I'll probably end up, you know, joining you on one of those excursions. All right, everybody. So, you know, like I said, I'm going to be putting out a PDF kind of, you know, listing out this itinerary. I'm going to put it in the Facebook group, and I'm going to pin it up in the featured, so that way everybody has like a PDF version of that. Now, I'm not going to dive into like the weather, the terrain, the gear list, stuff like that. That's going to be like a separate video. But for those of you who are a little bit intimidated by Dolly Sods, or, you know, maybe you're a little bit of a beginner and you're not really sure, I'm going to have resources for you on, you know, all the stuff that you're going to need to be aware of for that trip, okay? That way everybody can, you know, have the best experience possible. For some of you more experienced backpackers, I am looking for 1 or 2 volunteers to be like a team leader for the trip. Right now it's looking like we'd have someplace between about maybe 15 to 25 at the most people coming on the trip. So, you know, not everybody's going to be the same experience, the same conditioning, stuff like that. So I am looking for 1 or 2 people to maybe step up and be a volunteer in case we need to lead like multiple small groups. You know, even if we split up into smaller groups, the plan is we will still, you know, reconcile at the end of the night, come to one common area. If there's a lot of people, we're not going to be in like the same exact camp spot, right? You know, maybe some people are a quarter mile down the way or something like that. But, you know, we could all hang out in one campsite and then put up our shelters, you know, in another one or something like that. So that's just kind of the nature of backpacking, right? There's not like a, you know, huge established campground out in the middle of the woods, right? But yeah, guys, just be aware, you know, it's going to be wet. It could be cold. It could be hot. It could be sunny. It could be rainy. It might even snow, right? So I'll dive into that stuff a little bit more, you know, in a future video here. But I hope this helped. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of you guys out there. Excited to get a chance to meet with you and, you know, hit some miles on the trails. So for those of you who just tuned in and you're like, hey, how can I go on this trip? or how can I go on future trips, we actually have a Facebook group for the channel. It is called Backpacking Ohio and Beyond. I want to put a link down in the description box below. Just go ahead and click that link, and that's how you can join the Facebook group. Also, for those of you who are up in the air or you're more curious about Dolly Sods, I do have 2 backpacking videos on my channel of my last trip to Dolly Sods. So I will go ahead and put those down in the description box as well. But as always, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to go ahead and keep seeing more content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.